Palm Beach is famed for its pristine beaches and luxurious estates, offering a perfect blend of coastal elegance and refined sophistication. Today on Homeworthy, we're touring 3 classic Palm Beach homes, from Lewis Miller's Spanish Mediterranean residence to Instaqueen Suebelle Robbins' fabulous space and an interior designer's waterfront home. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. To shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy episodes, be sure to check out the product links below for amazing furniture, accessories, and more.
Hey Homeworthy, I'm Lewis. Thank you so much for coming to my home in West Palm Beach. Come on in, let me show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Lewis Miller. I am a floral and event designer with offices in New York and West Palm Beach, and today we are at my home in West Palm Beach. I bought this home in 2021. It's a 1925 Spanish Mediterranean house. It was love at first sight. Honestly, I bought it sight unseen and came down and loved it even more. So then spent the next 6 months to a year really gutting it and doing a lot of cosmetic changes to make it feel like home. Buying this place sight unseen was a little nerve-wracking, but I had looked at so many properties, and what I loved instantly about this property was that the bones were all there. It was a great little size, it was a manageable size. It was kind of a blank slate, to be perfectly honest. It was in great condition. I had to do a few, minor adjustments to the foundations and the roof, but then it was really about coming in and having lots of fun with wallpaper and color and tile and pattern and furniture. Now, the realtor I was with, they were very dubious. They thought I was kind of making a mistake because they couldn't see it. They have since changed their mind. But just walking in and being able to see the light, see the space, see the proportions, see the flow, see how it was a very small house, but it didn't have a lot of wasted space. There were some areas we had to blast through some walls to enlarge some spaces and to connect rooms, but it really was just like, wow, this is amazing. Glad I bought it. No regrets. My kind of decor idea for this place was that I really wanted it to not feel like typical Palm Beach, which can be a lot of blue and white, or it can be very pink and preppy and green. I wanted this to feel like Hemingway, old Florida, like Florida before air conditioning. So really unusual colors like dark teals and mustards and greens and tobacco browns, a lot of antiques, hand-painted floors, using a lot of pattern and natural elements so that it felt very Floridian, but at the same time it was very masculine. It was kind of edgy and didn't feel too expected and had a very warm, sort of curated look about it that just felt like things that I'd collected over, centuries if I were that old, but found objects. Welcome to the entryway, the foyer, the Florida room of this house. So when I bought this house, this was one long room that had a very small doorway here and no other opening. Originally, this was a screened-in porch. So what's amazing about this room is that it has so much natural light flow in. My original inspiration and my hope was to have this whole room paneled in antique Pecky cypress wood panels, but that is so exorbitantly expensive that we had to settle for wallpaper, but I think it was not much of a settle because I'm really excited. We found this faux bois wallpaper by Martin Lawrence Bulliard, which is a beautiful mustard color, and this fell right into the color scheme I wanted in this house. I really want to embrace these sort of deep old Florida colors, but unusual colors. So you're gonna get turquoises and blues and peach and mustard all in one room. This Kaleem I actually found on Cherish. It ties all the colors in. This amazing bench I brought from my house upstate, covered in a Carolina Irving fabric. My two prized possessions are these little lamps here. These are Madeleine Castaigne lamps that I bought in Paris 2.5 years ago, and they're in perfect condition. I love how the bright turquoisey, tealy blue goes against the mustard. And then of course at the end here, it's Florida, it's an entryway. We have this fun rattan bar. So I like having some of these nods to Florida and Palm Beach, like the rattan and the caning, without going too heavy into it. It's a great little room all by itself. When guests come, a lot of people, we just have a hard time actually getting them out of this room and into the rest of the house. This room is quite narrow, and it was a little bit perplexing, like how do you actually furnish a room like this? Because it's really not wide enough for big furniture, so that's why we chose to have this bar at the end of the room, which is adjacent to the dining room, so that works perfectly. I wanted a console here so that I can have lamps, have lighting, have a place to put keys, dog leashes and stuff, and then the bench was a natural choice because you sit down, you put your shoes on, you put packages there. So while this room is narrow, it's very functional, and it's kind of broken down into three little individual spaces in one cohesive space. One thing I want to point out, the door, again, I really wanted a very expensive antique door. They just weren't available. So I found this amazing faux painter down here who did all of this wood paneling. This is all painted on. So this is hand painted, faux painted. The floors were stripped down, so they're just a pickled Florida pine. And then this leads right into the living room, which originally this had a very narrow door, but I opened this up so that this room has much more light. Come on with me to the living room and let me show you this space. This living room was originally the dining room. For some reason, it's the biggest room in the house, so I'm not sure why. And there was actually a door that connected to the kitchen there. We closed in this door, we made this door larger, and we put in all the bookcases so that it's surrounded by books. It's a library, living room, it's very cozy. The walls are painted this deep, intense, tealy green blue. The floors have been hand painted by Mary Mead from Atlanta. They're done in this geometrical tobacco stained pattern with the natural rush rug. These two chairs here I found locally. They're antique French armchairs, club chairs, so I love them because they're a little tattered, they're a little worn. The dogs love them. This sofa here, it's a down sofa. The dogs love it, as you can see. This is from Howell, London, one of my very favorite furniture makers on Pimlico Road. And then this bird prints I found in Paris at Stéphane Olivier Antiques, and that added just the right touch because it feels very Floridian, but it's sort of saturated, it's antique, it's vintage. It works great with the colors in here. I love having plants in here, whether they're bromeliads or unusual specimen orchids. And again, like a little bit of flowers every now and then, like these sweet peas. We have a cute little window seat over here that is covered in this hydrangea print with that matches the shades, and the wall sconces all have rattan shades. This is a great room, so I can't imagine it being a dining room. It makes for a very cozy living space, and we love it. And it's also really pretty at night when you're walking down the sidewalk because you can see through the Florida room and you can see the bird prints on the wall. This desk is a vintage bamboo desk. Again, it's from a local antique dealer. It brings in some of that old Hemingway feeling, but there's a cute little detail I want to show you over here, and there's a couple throughout the house. So the guy who painted my front door, I wanted these little surprises. So this is the dead butterfly on the windowsill. So every once in a while, you'll get cute little moments of folly like that that are there for no other reason than to just, make you smile. While this room is directly off the Florida room, the line of sight from here looks over the front yard and the street, but this is, again, was important that the furniture in this Florida room didn't look cluttered, or that it actually made some sense. So sitting in this room, you see the bench, you see the curtains, and it actually does feel like an extension of the living room. Same thing when we get to the dining room, the bar feels like an extension of the dining room. So I've always been in love with the natural world. As a child, I grew up in gardens. I come from a family of gardeners. I've always loved flowers. I experimented very early on how flowers can change the dynamic of a room. I went to school for horticulture and landscape design, loved it. My attention span was a little too short for watching gardens grow, and I fell into the whole floral event design business, which was so perfect for my personality because you can really create a whole space, create a look, and it's all over at midnight. So I started doing this at a very young age. I started my business, Lewis Miller Design, in 2002. And yeah, focused primarily on creating beautiful special events for clients, some corporate stuff. And I have recently opened an office, actually it's 3 years now, in West Palm Beach. So I straddle my time between West Palm and New York City. Flower Flash started in 2016, though the idea had been percolating in my mind for quite a few years prior to that. Now I create weddings and parties and beautiful sort of private homes and hotels, and I've always loved the juxtaposition of flowers and nature and city and the dichotomy and the democratic nature of New York City. And to that point, I was like, I wish there was a way that I could bring flowers to sort of my everyday New Yorkers. It's great that my clients get to see this and experience this, but the people who actually really need this joy in their life are people like you and me who get up every morning, go to work, and kind of get through the day. So at that point in my career, things were going well. I was like, there's gotta be a way to give back. So the first Flower Flash happened in 2016. It was literally taking leftover flowers and doing sort of a pop-up street art installation with them for the sole purpose of nothing other than bringing a smile to somebody's face, that they could experience it, they could take a picture, that they could take a flower, and just kind of be a surprise in the middle of New York City. So welcome to my dining room. This room in the house was originally the living room. It has the fireplace here, and this wall was completely closed off. So one of the best things we did immediately was to open this up. This allowed all this natural sunlight to come streaming into the dining room. And you can see it connects to the floor of the room. We have our bar there, so this really feels like a natural extension of the dining room. This room is one of my favorite rooms as well. There's something about it that just feels, I don't know, almost like things were collected from a pirate ship or something. Two of the most important things in this room that really ground the space are these two antique 17th century caryatids. They're Italian. I bought them from a dealer down here, an auction house down here in West Palm. And I paid a fortune for them, knowing that I could sell them tomorrow for twice as much. I actually got a pretty good deal on them. They're incredible. So I actually had them wired to be lamps so that they will light up. They look beautiful at night. They flank the archway here. We then come in, I've got the dining table, which is a pickled oak dining table surrounded by vintage French Louis Sagnot rattan chairs. Louis Sagnot rattan is, I love it, and I have a lot of it in the house. The wall sconces are also that. It's a little less typical when it comes to rattan for Palm Beach. It's from the 50s and 40s. It's French. It has a little bit more style, I think. So we pulled in the same yellow in the cushions here. This is the same fabric that is in the window shades and the window seat cover in the living room. We had this fireplace here that we inherited and could not find an antique fireplace surround that fit right or was somewhat affordable, so we kept this and had the faux painter do very exaggerated faux bois wood on this in this kind of rich mustard color, and then this amazing tile, tobacco stained Portuguese tile, which picks up the floor pattern. The walls are wallpapered. I use a lot of wallpaper in the house. We actually turned the pattern sideways for this wallpaper so that it felt more like a basket weave as opposed to going up and down. We thought it looked a little dizzying, so I actually prefer it this way because it has this kind of tendency to look like a basket weave. And then trimmed everything in this room out in the same green blue that the library living room is painted in. This pink chest is a piece I've had for years. I love, love, love the color. It's an early American blanket chest. I think the peach against the mustard, the blue-green, and the browns is really amazing. It has this old captain's lamp on it. This thing stays on 24/7, so there's always a night light in here. And then on this wall, I have this big crane print. When you have a big wall like this, it's hard to figure out what to put on a space like this, and I didn't want a lot of little things since I already had the birds over the sofa. I didn't want everything to be a bunch of small prints, so I found this locally. It's not an old piece, but it's got this nice saturated tobacco stained look to it of the herons. When it comes to doing flowers for my home, I honestly don't take a lot of chances or experiment because I have things set the way I like, and I want the flowers to not be center stage. They're really just to accent it and give it a little breath of life. So I love pottery, I love vessels. Traditionally, I'll have a beautiful pitcher or some pottery on a coffee table that without flowers, it looks great by itself. But then if I just want to throw a handful of ranunculus or tulips in it, great. Suddenly I have flowers. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. And it's just a nice, I think in general, a nice way to live with flowers, you know, working with the colors of the room so that, you know, you can pick up an obscure color in the room and focus the flower color on that. So they feel bold and they complement the art and the upholstery, but it doesn't feel like you overthought it or overdid it, which I think is crucial. On the dining table, I have always loved majolica, and these are majolica begonia leaves. So they are sitting on the table. I love the colors. They really bring in the colors of the entire house, actually. And then this rattan basket I bought from Sohn in London, and just stuff it full of tillandsias and bromeliads, stuff that would naturally grow outside and look very at home in Florida. So this room is fun for entertaining because I hosted Thanksgiving here. I've done dinner parties here. I have a lot of beautiful china and placemats and linens. So it's really great to set this table up. You know, I'm usually a little sparing on the flowers because the table fills up very quickly. So I'll just do some small bud vases, but a lot of candles. But it really becomes about the color of the plates and the china and the linens and how it all works in this room. One little thing I want to show, another little detail here. We have a little mouse that was hand painted there in the corner. He's peeking out of his mouse hole. That's by the same artist who painted the fireplace and the butterfly. And the last thing here is our trompe l'oeil $50 bill on the corner of the bar. So this is very realistic. That's actually hand painted. It's not decoupaged, and it looks like somebody dropped some money, and it's just there for kids to look at and try to reclaim. So this room has a lot of patterns, but I love that because it's got a lot of energy, but nothing is very, very strong. I mean, the fireplace is pretty strong, but you know, I don't know. I think with the fact that it's all outlined in a very strong color, we kept the shade pattern to be a little bit more discreet, and it's more about the color scheme really working and that everything has some space and it's not terribly crammed up against each other. So it feels natural. It works with the natural fiber of the bamboo. You have the views into the other rooms that help it all make aesthetic sense. Okay, welcome to the family room. So this is where we spend most of our evenings. It's right off the kitchen. This room is a very cozy room. We started by wallpapering the entire room in a natural seagrass fabric. The color scheme for this room was really informed by the drapes, this beautiful hollyhock pattern that's got the same blue, greens, and yellows and browns in it. The yellow rug pulls the yellow in, the sofa, the chairs. I've got some antique botanicals here that are Florida native plants. So this again is homage to my love of flowers, but also the flora and the fauna of the surrounding area. So there's a lot of birds in this house. This is an English diorama of owls and pheasants that I got in the Hamptons probably 10 years ago, and I've been looking for the perfect place for it, and there it sits. The dogs love this space because every piece of furniture is down cushion, so it's impossible to keep them fluffed, but they're very comfortable. I have an antique Swedish cabinet here. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's very strong geometrical lines. And that's what's nice about this room is it leads directly into the powder room, which has this super fun crane wallpaper so you get that, you know, view of the birds at the same time. This room does feel a little bit more calm. The dining room, you know, has a lot more pattern going on. This to me is kind of Florida meets English countryside. So there is a lot of English pieces in this room, from the sofa to the chairs to the fabric lampshades. The fabric's English, the bird diorama is English. So this is kind of my comfortable space that is a nod to my love of all things England. And we wanted to have this be more of a relaxing room, because we've got the living room, which was much more intense. We've got the dining room, which acts as a passageway between all the other rooms, which is much more vibrant with pattern and color. And then we have this, which is just much more calm and relaxed. But what's nice about this room is that it leads into the kitchen, and you can see into the kitchen from this room, which is a completely different story altogether. Let's head into one of my very favorite rooms in the house, my kitchen. So what do I love most about this home? It's quiet, unlike my New York apartment. We sleep really well here. I really love the kitchen. The kitchen, I've always wanted a fully tiled kitchen, and we went for it in this home. So it's floor to ceiling, emerald green tiles. It's got a hand-painted floor. It feels very like old world, like an old English sort of Jamaican kitchen, but at the same time, it really, even though it's so different than the rest of the house, it really works really well. And you kind of turn the corner and suddenly you're just in this emerald jewel box of a room. Okay, welcome to our kitchen. So this is one of my favorite rooms in the house. I have always wanted a fully tiled kitchen, and I finally got it. So it's floor to ceiling, these amazing emerald green tiles. We kept the existing cabinets as is, painted them green, changed out the hardware, found this beautiful green veined marble for the top of the cabinets, for the countertops, and had the floor hand painted again in a diamond pattern in the same green by Mary Mead. The light fixtures overhead are from Urban Electric, and we had those customized in the same green. We built these shelves overhead. We have the brass fixtures, the English deep sink. Yeah, it's just a cozy, great room to cook in. This piece is a vintage Gustavian cabinet, which I found on Terrace, which is perfect for a spice rack, and it fits right here like it was made for the place, between the refrigerator and the counter. And then on this side, we have the butler's pantry. So this is a lovely little extension that's got the wood countertops with the brass edging, this fun geranium leaf wallpaper, and then this one hit of pink in this cabinet here in the corner. In this room, I keep my love of platters and china. These beautiful pieces here I buy from a dealer in Paris, and this is handmade, and I just love, again, the browns and the unusualness of it. It's masculine and rich, but it's very old world. These platters here are a local artist, and they're beautiful. Again, there's a lot of flowers and bees and birds in my life, so these are great for hors d'oeuvres or big bowls of pasta. So we put in these open shelves. These were copied after the Duval shelves, but my guy down here in Florida who works for me is quite the MacGyver, and he can make anything, so he made them for me. We ordered the brass rods and the hooks, so they're great for cookbooks, casserole, dishes, bowls, all kinds of stuff that looks pretty and is useful. So this kitchen is great for cooking, and I have every pot and pan, every single utensil, every spice, so anybody can roll in here and cook an amazing meal. However, that person is generally not me. I tend to make arrangements for dinner or order out, but if you want to come and cook for me, it's all ready. This connecting window between the family room and the kitchen at first was a little bit of a dilemma. It was originally a bar counter. It felt very odd. It felt very diner-ish, and we thought we were going to try to find some old bottle glass, stained glass window, or have something made to put that in here. Ultimately, I did not end up doing that, because the way it turned out, it really does have a nice view into the family room. Somebody can be cooking here and visiting with somebody that's relaxing in that room. And it just also allows for a lot of natural light into this room, which could be dark otherwise. What makes a home come alive? Well, in my situation, it's dogs. I have 3 border terriers. And if I could have 6 or 10, I would in a jiffy, but 3 is sort of the max I can deal with being a single dad. So other than that, obviously I'm gonna say flowers and plants. I think it's really important to bring living elements into a house. It's no cliche that bringing living elements does make it feel alive. And color, I think color, nuances of color, beautiful textiles, wallpapers, things that you love, personal things, kind of really eschewing fashion or trends and just doing something that feels really connected to your soul and your aesthetic. Okay, let's go upstairs. Let me show you my bedroom. Excuse me, come on, Tug. Come on. Okay, welcome to my bedroom. So this room originally had a big closet, which we ripped it out so there was a larger space to create a little bit of a seating area. We moved the bathroom door over so that there was actually a proper wall for the bed. These walls are covered in this amazing printed rattan fabric that's got a pale stripe and a botanical print to it. We put in this closet and line the panels with the same fabric. And it's very quiet. The curtains are this beautiful soft sage green that pick up the print of the wallpaper. The bed is a 4-poster bed that I had at my house upstate before I sold it and moved down here. Brought in this vintage rattan chaise lounge with the beautiful fabric there for that corner. That fun monkey side table I found from a local dealer down here. So one thing I really love about this room is, again, the hand-painted floor. So this floor is beautiful. It's in the soft blue and green shades, hand-painted by Mary Mead in Atlanta. Picks up all the soft tones. It's very important that this room feels very, very restful, and it does. So it's great to lay in here. The morning light streams in beautifully. The bed looks great right now and very crisp, but there are 3 dogs that sleep with me, so it doesn't always stay like that. But this is just nice, classic Pratisi bed linens. These lamps I bought from a local auction house, and they just give a nice glow to the room with their silk shades. One of the best things about this house was the bathrooms needed very little work. Now, we did have to move the door and put in a sliding door, and I put in this vanity, but the tile was all original to the house. We painted it the same soft green as the trim of the bedroom. This big deep tub was here, so this room was really pretty much ready to go. Okay, let me take you to the dressing room next. I love this room. This was originally a bedroom, but I decided since I would prefer my guests to stay outside in one of the back cottages that I not have guests stay in the house, that I would have to turn this into a dressing room. So we put in these cabinets that are lined with the caning on the 4 corners. It's a great space. It's got a lot of storage. It's got a lot of natural light. It's a great place to just read, to get dressed, to prepare for the day, for packing your bags for trips. And it just overlooks the front of the house, so it just is a nice addition to this whole series of upstairs rooms. These beautiful chairs are pieces that I got years ago in New York. I had them reupholstered in this stark fabric, and I actually loved them so much I kept them as is, did not reupholster them again. They work great in here. It's a perfect spot to read a book, put on your shoes, put the dog collars on, whatever needs to happen. This lamp here is a vintage French piece. It is by Audemars Manet, I believe is his name, and I bought this locally. This is one of my favorite pieces in the house. It's probably from 1960s. It's all made out of sculpted rope with this green glass orb in the middle and the natural burlap lampshade. This here is Leo the lion. He's one of my most prized possessions. He's traveled around with me for years. I bought him at the New York Botanical Gardens show about 15 years ago. He is one of the few pieces I would actually grab and run out with if the house were on fire, besides the dogs. So come with me to the greatest part of the whole house, the outdoor terrace. My approach to floral design and how I design this home or an apartment in New York or my house that I had upstate, they're very similar. I really want to go for something that feels relaxed, that every piece in the house could actually be a conversation piece, but nothing fights. So it feels very curated. There's a lot of interesting things. There's old things, there's new things, there's layers. Layers is a very important word in all of my projects, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a birthday party, whether it's a home. And so that you can be in the environment, and there's a lot of moments of discovery. So as you look around, you notice, details that you didn't necessarily see at first, but nothing is overwhelming. Welcome to my outdoor terrace. This space is such a little treat. It's on the second floor, it overlooks the backyard. The best thing about this house, next to the bathrooms not needing work, was this tile that was already here. So I did not put this tile in. This tile was already existing. We just worked with it, created this wonderful outdoor room with a dining table, with seating area, found this vintage McGuire rattan chaise lounge set, and had these cushions custom made in the mattress style. And it's just a beautiful area to have cocktails, to have coffee in the morning, to visit with friends, to cuddle with the dogs, read a book. It's so relaxing. It gets a nice breeze up here. Or have dinner parties. It's a great place for dinner parties. So this piece behind me, as an ode to my love of all things English and the English countryside, is a dovecote. So these were created in the Cotswolds, and each one of these little holes is where a dove would go and make a nest. So I found this and brought it in. Thought it worked great there. It's a good conversation piece. This coffee table here was from a dealer down in West Palm Beach. It's this sort of Moroccan style, very large piece. It has the greens and the reds and the blues, picks up beautifully with the tiles existing. So it's a great piece, and it's also nice because of the scale is so large. I don't have to have a lot of little pieces, and it really grounds this end of the space. So over on this end, I put a dining table. This is a great space. It works great as a bar for a cocktail party or for an intimate dinner in the evening. This old wood table, there's nothing precious about it. It survives all the elements, and the older and the more beat up it gets, the better it looks. I found these vintage French bistro chairs that I've surrounded it with. Right now it's got a big old snake plant in the middle, but this has to come off if I'm setting it for dinner. But it's a nice cozy area to have a dining this area, lounge on the other side, and it really takes, again, a big space and breaks it into smaller usable rooms. What does the word home mean to me? Well, let's just put it this way. There's a famous expression that says go big or go home, and I like to turn that around and say, why go big when I can go home? Home is very important to me. Home, my dogs, my relationships, like this is literally where my life is grounded. This is where I want to be. I can work here, I can sleep here, I can entertain here, I can have friends over. It's just, I can't express enough how important it is to invest in your living situation. It literally trickles down, not even trickles, it gushes down into the rest of your life, and just keeps you grounded.
Hi, it's Suebelle in Palm Beach. Hey, Homeworthy, come on in. I want to show you my beautiful apartment.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, it's Suebelle Robbins. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida, and I am a social influencer. Hi, everybody. It's Suebelle in Palm Beach, and I want to tell you a little story today. Amazing that these companies know that I wear makeup. I don't know how they figured that out. I really don't wear much makeup, do I? My home is beautiful. I bought it last March and spent some time redoing it, and it's very traditional, but it's also sort of Florida. I've got parrots and photographs and some great artwork and antiques I have acquired over the years. We lived in Boston and in Newport, Rhode Island, and Park Avenue in New York. This apartment is a little bit of all the things that I acquired and that I loved, and I've sort of edited it to make them fit this apartment. I've been here for 20 years, seasonally. When I was 23, I came to Palm Beach with a date, and I just fell in love with it. We went to the Flagler Museum, which was started by Henry Flagler, Standard Oil, and he came here at the turn of the century. And it's just beautiful, filled with coconut trees and palm trees. It's wonderful. And we went to this Flagler Museum, a fabulous French restaurant that's no longer here called Petite Marmite. And then we went to the Colony Hotel for drinks. And that's when I decided I'm going to live here someday, because they were all sort of old people and they were so attractive. All the ladies had beautiful gowns and jewelry, and I thought, this is where I'm gonna be. And then about 25 years later, I was with my husband in Boston, and he said, you know, I made too much money, I don't have any deductions. And I said, what about a mortgage? And he said, well, we can't live there yet. I said, well, that's fine. So we bought a place, a beautiful penthouse, and then we would come seasonally. So that was like 20 years ago. So I've really had a couple chapters with falling in love with Palm Beach, and each time it gets more wonderful. I'm in my foyer, and I love this room the best. As I said, every room I'm in, I love the best. But this is wild wallpaper. I just am crazy about it. It's English. The chandelier is original. The people had it in 1969, so it stays with me. And I love the gilded mirror. And I had to keep it narrow. There's not a lot of space, but I have my beautiful sterling dish with the S on it, and little faux flower that I think looks perfect, an umbrella stand. And it's very simple. This is the only room where we changed the floor, and I think it gives great definition. And this was one closet which we made larger to have the space, and they were able to make a little coat closet in there, and I just love it. I think it's great. Everybody loves the wallpaper. Welcome to my living room, dining room. I just love the light in this apartment. It's great. The chandelier was here. I'm crazy about chinoiserie, the blue and white. I have it all over. These I love. They're from, I used to go to the gift show every year in New York and had the most wonderful things. These chairs I love. They're from London. I got them at an auction. And I've got the Brunswick, I think it's called Congo animal print. It's like a needlepoint. This wonderful watercolor of Paris I got at an estate sale, and my friend looked it up and saw that the artist was selling things for $70,000, so it was quite a coup. I think I paid $1,000, and I love it. I love the way they were able to hang it from the ceiling. It's just brilliant. I think they used fishing wire. Both the tables are burrowed walnut, which is my just absolute favorite. My grandfather, 100 years ago, had a Rolls Royce, and it had burrow walnut trim inside, and that made quite an impression on me. So I'm a burrow walnut girl. And these are faux painted. As I said, they're from London. And I did the Brunswick Congo print, and my husband tells me they're not very comfortable, but I love the way they look. And these are two chests that I just adore. They're from Scott Snyder, who's a fabulous designer in Palm Beach. And we have estate sales once a month at a place called Kofsky's. And I got those. I also love silver. I was blessed to be able to get a new sofa. I don't sit on it very much because it's so new. I want to break it in, but it's fabulous. It's so comfortable. We've got this fabulous TV that you can get a painting, and love this. You can see I love the blue and white. I have it throughout. I think it's great with antiques, and don't count them, but I love the white orchids, so I've got them throughout the apartment. This is the Brunswick. As I said, it's called Congo, and it's cute to pull up a little sit on the stool. And this is, over here, is a child's chair that I did in a Brunswick zebra, which I think is really adorable. If you'll notice, they redid all of the moldings in here. I love the way they look, very contemporary. This was painted by a friend of mine's mother, and this is by another friend. This was my foyer in Park Avenue, so I'll always have something to remember. Beautiful Park Avenue. This is from my two best friends in Newport. They came to visit me, and they gave me this little silver box, April 2007. I think it's really important to have pictures and objects that you receive from friends. It really validates a wonderful thing, and there's nothing more wonderful than friends. Some of my favorite places, this one is about Newport and CZ Guest, and this is a social photographer, Nick Mealy. He's in Newport, and I know his mother. He's become quite famous. He's sort of like a Slim Aarons, and I have my Slim Aarons books that I love. This is new. This is great. This is a gift, and they took the pot and they covered it in moss. I think it looks so wonderful. And I love the black. A friend of mine said you should always have something black in a room, so I'm covered here. The same guy, Ryan, painted this picture. It's the girl with the pearl earring, and a couple people say they think it's better than the original. But it's charcoal, and I think it's really wonderful. And it's got a silver frame that picks up all the silver. I love burrowed walnut, so I have the two tea caddies. I don't know if anybody's watched The Gilded Age, but this is one of the mansions from the Gilded Age, and it was made into condos in the 80s, and we lived in this condo above the pillars, and we had a beautiful view of the whole shore. This is my husband and myself in Venice, where all the stupid pigeons go. My background is I was born in upstate New York, but grew up in Texas, Austin, San Antonio, and Beaumont. And when I graduated from the University of Texas, I didn't want to marry a Texan. They had big bellies and cowboy boots and drank too much beer. So I went from Austin to Boston, where I fell in love with Boston. It was great. I was looking for a teaching job, and there really weren't any. Guys were coming back from Vietnam, and they needed to hire those guys. And but I finally did find a job in a Catholic school, St. Agnes in Arlington, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston, and it was only $86 a week. So to supplement my income, I became a Playboy bunny at night. So I did that about 3 nights, and then I was with the babies. I taught first grade during the day, and it was quite an exciting life. This was 70s, that was me. And then I got into the travel business, where I would take tour groups, like all lawyers or all Shriners or all doctors. I would take them, escort them to Switzerland or Honolulu or Puerto Rico, different places. And then I got promoted where I would live in the country. So I lived in Puerto Rico for 6 months, and then I lived in Honolulu for 6 months. And when I was in Honolulu, I met my husband on the balcony. I always said I was Romeo and he was Juliet. He was just in Honolulu for business. He was in the newspaper business, and they had a joint venture with the Honolulu paper. He was with Gannett, and anyway, I went to visit him in Rochester, New York, where the headquarters were, and I went to visit him in Thanksgiving, and we got married the following New Year's Eve. I was a tax deduction. So I lived in Rochester, New York for 10 years and flew around on a Gulfstream jet, was able to make occasional trips to Palm Beach. And then I got divorced and I moved back to Boston, where I met my present husband. That was 36 years ago. And I've done some real estate. I just do referral now. I'm with Sotheby's, and I did quite a bit of interior design, and buying and selling properties has been a great hobby. I've sort of been able to catch the market, and I love antiquing and shopping. Oh, and also I always loved clothes. So when I lived in Rochester, I started doing some country club modeling. And when I moved to Boston, my sister was a manufacturer's rep for Pringle Cashmere, and I met some of her accounts, and the people at Talbot's wanted me to model, so I started doing catalog modeling for the buyers. I was what they call a style model. I would try on clothes all day long, and they would decide what outfits were going to go into the catalog. And then I would go to New Hampshire, where the clothes were kept, and I would model for the telephone operators so they could see what they were selling. It was great fun. I ended up modeling for 7 different catalogs, and I just had a great time. They made me feel like I was Cindy Crawford. So I've had a lot of little chapters, and they've all been great. Now I'd love to show you my sunroom. It's really my favorite room. Every room is my favorite room, but this is really my favorite room. This is, it's a coral, and it's all, it's vinyl, and it's a faux grass cloth, and I just love it. I think it's so rich. And this is my special Baker table. It's burrowed walnut, which I love, and I have 8 chairs, 4 of them in the living room and 4 down here. And it's a perfect spot for dinner party where you could switch couples around after a course. And I love the silver with the orchids. I think it just looks spectacular. And it's great for me to be able to mix gold and silver, just slip the two together without being too apparent. This at one time was a terrace, lanai, and they enclosed it, but you can open up and be like outside. At night, it's wonderful. My favorite Biedermeier antique chest. The drawers are a little sticky, but it's great. I have a great friend, Ryan, and he painted that from one of my portfolio pictures. I love the fabric. The fabric was curtains in my old apartment, and I had them slip cover, and the tortoise mirror. I'm crazy about tortoise. That again is from an estate sale. I have great friends, and this was a Thanksgiving gift. If you don't have anything nice to say, come sit by me. That was, it was sort of a joke, but maybe not such a joke. I love it. These chairs are fabulous. They're from a big estate on Middle Road, a mansion. The house was like the mansion in Sunset Boulevard. They're getting a little faded with the sun, but I think that gives a little panache. And I love the silhouette, and they are so comfortable. You wouldn't believe it. And I piped them in aqua to match the print on the sofa. And you'll see this print is very vibrant. The print in the living room, same print. It's had a little bit of sun, and so it's a little faded, But Brooke Astor always loved to have faded, so I have no problem with fading because sun is a good thing. And I've got the bamboo blinds that I had on Park Avenue. I hadn't planned on selling our penthouse, but when my husband was ill, it was sort of a too big. There were a couple rooms that I never went into, a library and then a den. So I put it on the market for an outrageous price, and then I took it off the market, and lo and behold, a man had seen it, called a broker, and I was offered an insane amount. My husband said I'm not supposed to mention money, but we did quite well. And I knew this building, it's right down the street. We're right across the street from the marina where all the boats are kept. And so I knew the street quite well. And I went to look at an apartment, and it was 2 floors up, and it had a great view. And then the man decided not to sell. And so I saw this apartment, didn't have as great a view, but it did have a great view. I saw that it had potential. I never realized till I moved in how important light can be. It's very bright, and I just had so much fun decorating. I've always loved leopard carpets. That was always my dream. When I was a little girl, I went to visit this rich lady in Texas, and she had leopard carpet. And guess what? I got to have leopard carpet now. And it's just been great. As I said, I have the things I acquired in Newport at auctions and down here at estate sales, and everything works. It's just been super. So I fell in love with it immediately, and there was a room that was sort of an enclosed patio, and I've turned that into a sunroom, which is where we're sitting right now, and I just love it. It's very cozy, and then I have my dreamy bedroom with the leopard carpet. Now I'd love to show you my kitchen. I'm really crazy about it. I wanted navy blue, but this is like a royal blue, and it's so well done. Believe it or not, this elegant thing is a refrigerator. This is South Coast construction. The way they did all the wood, it's all maple. I mean, we're gonna wear out before this wears out. And I really bit the bullet, and I'm glad I did. I'm buying the very expensive hardware. And I also was able to pick out the kind of moldings I wanted, and I think it looks great. They've got all the moldings here. I'm a big believer in mirroring backsplash. I think it gives you a huge sense of space. I had a sort of a tacky gold faucet, and my friend said, you really should get a good one. So this was my $1,000 faucet, so it's very special, and I do think it looks great. I love the gold with the navy, and they did a great job on the moldings. And again, this is the vinyl grass cloth that we used the excess on the bookshelves, but it's not grass cloth, it's vinyl. And that same artist that I love, Eugene O'Neill, painted that. I think it's perfect for a kitchen. And this is like a little desk area. Oh, this is Richard and myself when we went to Egypt. Little kiss on the camels. I have this because I always forget my phone, so that reminds me. And again, tortoise shell. I love this from the gift show. This was from the gift show. If you ever get an opportunity, it's just wonderful. You have to walk around for hours, but you see things you've never seen. The light fixture I love. I love X's. And this is from the collection from Suzanne Kessler. She's a really well-known decorator. And guess what? She lives next door. So I love that. I told you about the mansion, Newport. It was Mrs. Stuyvesant Fish. They were the Pennsylvania Railroad people. And she gave this as a gift for the flower show in 1908. And it's sterling silver, and it's from Tiffany. And I got it in an antique shop in Newport for $300. I just love it. Oh, I'm very traditional. I love the 60s and the leopards and the silks and the gold. Sort of fancy. I love a combination of English and French. And I had a very good friend at Brunswick who was sort of a mentor and turned me on to beautiful fabrics that I still use today. So I'm traditional with a little bit of sexy prettiness, I think. I love that they've started making vinyl grass cloth. For so long, wallpaper just wasn't seen, but now it's had a big comeback. And grass cloth, I had grass cloth in my other apartment, and it had been very expensive. So they've made it in vinyl, and it's a fraction of what the grass cloth used to be. So I love that I've been able to do that throughout the apartment. As I think I mentioned, I always loved animal carpet. A very rich Texas lady had it in her house when I was about 12 years old, and it was always in the back of my mind, but never was able to do it. And then I was. And I told you I go to estate sales. There's a very fancy decorator called Scott Snyder, and he designed for this very fancy lady, Audrey Gruss. So these were at a house sale, estate sale. So I got the 2 chairs. This is from Ireland. I love it. It's sterling silver, and this is an old boyfriend's family name. I love sterling. This is a perfect table. It just works. I just had the blinds motorized. It was too hard to push them up, so I'm very excited about my new blinds. I have a great story on this painting. A friend of mine knows how much I love Paris, and this is Paris in the 30s, and it came from Mrs. Budweiser's house. She was a Budweiser. My friend married her son, and she knew how much I love Paris, and so she took the painting and had a G-clay made. So that's a copy, and I think it's so beautiful and romantic. The bedside tables I got a long time ago. This wonderful store used to be open on Sundays. It was great, and I would just go hang out there on Sundays, and I found these tables. And of course, I've got my chinoiserie lamps and my darling husband, Richard. And I love the candle, the sterling with the month and the day. And another picture of my sweet husband in tortoise. This fabric was about $1,000 a yard. It was very, very expensive. And my friend Carmi at Brunswick gave me a couple yards, and so I had pillows made. And I have all this monogrammed linens from Legacy. It's a great company, but I've ended up just using 2. And here's another friend. Too much of a good thing is wonderful. Hope you agree with me. You can see I have the most fabulous built-ins. They're just, we've got the special doors and the enamel finish and the expensive hardware. It's from Anderson's. I got everything. I've been buying stuff from them for 25 years. And this is a great thing that you can do with your TV. You can have paintings. They have any number of paintings to choose from, but I love Paris so much, so I love that picture. And this is where I do my filming for videos. It's called a cameo, and somebody will want you to wish them a happy birthday or happy engagement. And so I do it there. And I also put my makeup on here. It's very, very, very important if you're from Texas to have makeup. And they had this at the nail studio, and I bought about 10 of them for Christmas gifts. You put your phone here. So I do my little videos, and the light is great. And then I can't stand any kind of a clutter. So you just close the door, and people don't even know you're wearing makeup. Ha ha. And this is my closet. It's very frustrating because we don't need winter clothes very much here, and they take up so much room. But anyway, it's nice. It could be a little bigger, but that's okay. I'm happy and I'm grateful. This is where I sit when I do the makeup. And also I can put the table over here. I think it looks quite smart. Matching bedside table. This was a picture that I wish I'd chosen to have my portrait done. I picked another picture. I guess it's okay. My best friend said it didn't look like me, so I never really liked it, but as I get older, I like it. And this was done in 2008. Do you think I've aged a little bit? And I love this bathroom. A friend of mine had something similar, the chinoiserie mirror, and I love the light fixtures, and everything is on dimmers, but this is Schumacher wallpaper. And this is my $129 chandelier from Home Depot, and I just put some expensive shades on it, and it looks pretty cool, don't you think? And it's so nice at night just to have just a little bit of light. I think it's so pretty. I think it's great to have a bench at the foot of your bed to put the pillows on. My first husband used to always throw the pillows on the floor. That would start an argument every evening, but it's great to have a bench at the foot of your bed. Again, you see how I love the white orchids. I'm also, since this is May, the lilies of the valley are really incredible. They have a wonderful fragrance. And I love the way they did the molding again throughout the apartment. And I do have a fan. And that's the beach where I proposed to my husband. And he said yes. So my friend at Brunswick said, well, you know, it's not very good art. And it's like, I don't care. We had been to a wedding in the Cape. After the ceremony, there was a club or a restaurant, and we went to, and they said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And I thought, oh, we could do that. I'd been with Richard for 8 years. I didn't want to get married again, but when I went to that wedding, it sort of clicked. So we drove back to Newport from Falmouth. Falmouth. It was in the Cape. And on the way, we had stopped at Kennedy's. It was this art studio. There were quite a few around Boston. So we got home, and Richard said, I have something to ask you. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's thinking the same thing I'm thinking. And I said, okay, what? He said, do you think we should buy that painting? It's like, oh. So the next day we were at the beach, and I said, Richard, what would you think about a wedding? And he said, that's good. I'm too old to be a boyfriend. I found out later he used to cringe. I would always say, hi, this is my boyfriend, Richard. And, you know, he was like 50. He thought he was too old to be a boyfriend. But he also said he was glad he was wearing sunglasses, so I couldn't see the shock on his face. So that was like Labor Day, and we got married Columbus weekend, and we drove to Vermont. It was wonderful. The trees were gorgeous, and that's really my favorite time of the year. Don't get that too much in Palm Beach, but maybe I'll get to go to Southampton this summer, just for a couple days, just to see the leaves. But that's a true story. The home soul in this apartment is the entire apartment. It's so hard to pick one place. It's like they said, a judge was so dumb, the the lawyer that talked last was the one that won the case. It's wherever I'm sitting, I feel like this is just perfect. I look around and I say, oh, I love this room. So I feel that way in the sunroom where I am now, or in my bedroom. I just love the serenity. I love all the white orchids throughout. So it's a very difficult question. I think that the entire apartment is the soul. The soul is I've been able to incorporate all the things that I always loved, but had never been able to do. And that is beyond my wildest dreams. I just love this apartment and I never want to leave, except maybe to stay in the Carlisle Hotel in New York someday. Home to me is when I walk in the door, I have a feeling of happiness and contentment, just contentment and gratitude. You know, like, oh, I can't believe I live here. I can't believe I live in Palm Beach. It's, again, beyond my wildest dreams, and they've come true.
Today on Homeworthy, we're taking you to Palm Beach, Florida for a look inside interior designer Jessica Lagrange's show-stopping home. Jessica fondly named the home Coup de Fleur, or love at first sight, since it captured her heart the moment she stepped inside. An extensive renovation allowed Jessica to capitalize on the home's already great bones and fully embrace the Palm Beach aesthetic. So much so that she even designed an incredible grotto-inspired powder room that is covered with seashells. Throughout the home, you'll notice layers of pink screens and traditional elements, completed, of course, with a touch of glamour. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Jessica Lagrange. Welcome to my home in Palm Beach. Come on in and let me show you around. Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Jessica Lagrange, an interior designer in Chicago and Palm Beach. Last time we were together, we were at my home in Chicago. Now I'd love to share with you my home in Palm Beach. When we bought this house about 3 years ago, the house had undergone several renovations. I think the last one was probably 10 years prior. It was fine, but it was nothing special. We thought we'd live here during COVID, see what it was like. Of course, we knew we could improve upon it, and that's what started this renovation. Much more complex than we imagined. Mechanical was not up to date. A lot of the finishes, of course, were not up to date, but it was easy to take care of. I think what we did first was to make this foyer a little bit more special. We aligned some of the openings, which were not aligned. We put in this beautiful limestone floor from Terrace ceramics, very Regency Palm Beach style with the black and white checkerboard pattern. I also developed with Fromental, a wonderful wall covering line, this gorgeous hand-painted wall covering on grass cloth. We customized the colors and the placement of everything. The staircase was here, very appropriate for the house, we felt, so we didn't change it. Did some great lighting by Paul Ferrante, and found these beautiful vintage garden statues at a store in West Palm called Casa Gusto. They're my favorite, my little pink flamingos, cast iron pink flamingos. Another favorite piece in the entry that I found is this beautiful plaster table from Liz O'Brien Antiques. It looks like the inside of a shell. I paired it with two kind of chinoiserie vintage chairs that we found and a contemporary mirror. So I think it's a good mix. I like to mix things up, and I think you'll find that as we go through the house. We bought this house a couple of years ago because my partner and I wanted a secondary home. He wanted to be somewhere warm. He's semi-retired now, so he wanted to spend more time in a warm destination. We came down to Florida, fell in love with Palm Beach. We had a little bit of history here, but not a lot. We toured the island from end to end, and luckily ended up on the north end of the island. Steve was going to be spending more time in this house than I am, because I am still working. And he tends to be a little bit more colorful, a little bit more traditional. So this house was designed differently than our house in Chicago. We're not in an urban environment. It's much more relaxed, and I think there's a lot of use of color here that I don't typically use. So that was the direction that we wanted to go. We embraced kind of the Palm Beach aesthetic, a lot of pinks and greens and traditional elements. So you'll see that throughout the house. One of the things we wanted to do in this home is add an elevator. This house is only 2 stories, but we knew as we were possibly aging in place that an elevator would be helpful. So we took the front hall closet and turned it into an elevator, which has been very helpful with guests and suitcase. So that was a nice addition that we did. And I love this chandelier, this Giacometti-inspired chandelier that hangs in the middle of the space. It's by Bourgeois Boheme, and a little plaster and gold leaf, and I just think it looks stunning here. I'd love to show you my favorite room in the house. It's the smallest room in the house, but by far the most spectacular. Right off the foyers, we have our powder room. And it was my dream to do a grotto-inspired powder room. And this is definitely special. I tried to propose this to a client once, but they didn't quite understand it. But luckily, I was able to do it for myself. I came in contact with a wonderful, wonderful artist here in West Palm by the name of Krista. And she has a shop called Krista Seashells. And we came up with a design and she executed it for us. And you've got to get in here and take a peek because it's beyond beautiful. We customized the colors of all the shelves, designed the sconces, the mirrors. The ceiling is reflective of the sky with mother of pearl, and there are also starfish that represent stars in the sky. And I could just sit in here for hours, to be honest. It's truly, truly special. Another piece that we added was the conch shell sink, a beautiful faucet that comes out, just 1 temperature of water, and a beautiful bone inlay console. So it is definitely the most special room in the house and deserves to be highlighted. I just love it, and so does everybody that comes here. This is our living room, and there's definitely something special in our living room that I want to highlight. I have a beautiful, beautiful pearl galleon, which I think is so reminiscent and just speaks to me of Palm Beach. I have a favorite artist that I've used in my other home, and her name is Anne Carrington, and she does these surreal sculptures. It's all out of brooches and necklaces, and to me it just screamed Palm Beach. So we have it positioned between our bookcases, and it's definitely a talking point when people come into the living room. Another favorite piece that I love is above the fireplace, and it brings a little edge, I think, to our space. There's a famous fashion photographer, Melvin Sokolsky, and this is his photograph of Matchstick Girl. And I just love the look on her face with the matchstick in her mouth, and brings a little sexiness to the space, I think. It's a hodgepodge of different furnishings in here, different periods, pieces we've reused from other residences. Love the chairs that are done in a vellum finish. Beautiful, beautiful Holland and Sherry trim that we custom colored for the edge of the draperies. And also what is special about this room is the paint color. The paint color is a Pharaoh and Ball color called Setting Plaster. And we've used it on a couple jobs, and I've used it here in our living room and also outside at the Folly. And there's something about this color that is just incredible. It's not too pink. Everyone looks good in it. And I don't know, I think it's very, very successful in here. If you take a look around on the back wall here, we've got an installation of gold butterflies by an artist by the name of Paul Valinsky. It's a migration. I just think it looks very, very graceful and adds a little depth to the walls. Oh, another favorite piece of mine, and I have a good story about this, is this wonderful collectible Tony Duquette lamp. I had used this in a showcase house many years ago, and it was stopped. It wasn't being produced anymore. And I came across it on eBay, and I had to go to the Costco parking lot and do an exchange for somebody to get this beautiful piece. I felt like I was doing a drug deal or something, but I did end up with the Tony Duquette lamp, which I really think is special and stands on its own. As I said, the wonderful artist Krista that did our powder room and a few pieces in our house also did this fun bust on the table. She is just, her work is incredible, and you'll see it, a few of her pieces repeatedly throughout the house, and I'll point them out, but love the bust. We have so many wonderful flowers here. It's so much fun to find flowers you don't normally find in Chicago. We can just go out and pick them off our bushes, and we found some beautiful flowers here in the living room. Again, it's a collection of pieces I've had. As you know from my other home, I love to collect, and you'll see that repeated throughout our house here. We originally planned this living room with this beautiful flat sisal. I believe it was from Stark Carpet. And it just, when we moved in here, I felt like it needed another layer. So we found this rug. I think I found it online. The colors were perfect. It's by SKL, and I just layered it on top of the sisal, and I think it brings a little bit more depth and color to the room. Walking into this house for the very first time, Steve and I both looked at each other and said this was it. Hence, we've named the house Coup de Fou. Coup de Fou means love at first sight. So we've taken that and we've put we've started to personalize some things around the house with the saying coup de fou. So it was love at first sight. I have a few other favorite pieces I'd love to share with you. We had this beautiful little seahorse table from Ironies here with a pink shagreen top that I just adore. It seemed to be perfect for the Palm Beach aesthetic. And my second favorite piece is a chair over here by Paul Schmidt. I happen to have a second chair just like this in my other home. He doesn't make these anymore, but I just love it. And it doesn't look very comfortable, but it's actually very, very comfortable. And I just love it by itself. It's a piece of art and has become extremely collectible. Let's take a peek at my dining room because this is where it all really started. When we first purchased the house, I was out looking at all the great stores on Dixie Highway. There's so many wonderful design shops here in Palm Beach. And one of the first pieces I saw was this beautiful shell chandelier at a shop on Georgia Avenue called Devonshire. If you haven't been to Devonshire, you need to go to Devonshire. And I just fell in love with the colors, and this was the beginning of the palette for the house. We also had a rug that Steve had in his previous home that was in pinks, and I don't know, it just spoke to me. Between the chandelier and the rug, that was the beginning of my color palette for this house. I think what I really love in this dining room is the beautiful leather chairs. It's a kid skin leather with the horsehair back. The backs are really beautiful, and it, again, pinks and grays, and I don't know, the color palette to me just sings in here. I felt we wanted to add a little glamour to the house. I love working with antique mirror, aigle-mazet. I have it in my other home, and I felt this would kind of dress up this dining room without being, you know, too ostentatious. So we have a wonderful source for antique mirror, and we did some paneling and did some insets. We did the little gold buttons, which are really beautiful. I thought I did a wonderful job with the antique mirror. We found some antique sconces on Cherish and had a dining table and reupholstered some chairs, and I don't know, it came together. But I love the glow in here at night with candlelight. Usually I have a lot of candles on my table, and it just literally glows, and everyone looks beautiful in these colors. Another reason that this room just glows at night is the beautiful metallic wall covering we put on the ceiling that has just a little bit of pink in it as well. And again, at night with all the lights down low and the candle lights, the ceiling, the carpets, all the colors, it's beautiful together. Welcome to the loggia. This is where we really spend a lot of time out here. It's great indoor-outdoor living. It's one of our favorite spaces in the house, and let me show you some of the beautiful details. I love the combination of the pink and black out here. The black wicker furniture kind of takes the edge off the pink and not so sweet. We sit out here all the time. We love to entertain out here. I love my collection of Moroccan pottery that I found on my last trip to Morocco. Another highlight out here are my staghorn ferns. I have a big collection of staghorn ferns. They were in my house in Chicago at one time when I lived in Lincoln Park, and we had them brought down here, and they're thriving down here, and I just think they're so sculptural and so beautiful. We have them on all the walls. So I really embraced the pink and black out here. I did a special backgammon table with one of my suppliers in Morocco. Found this great monkey table. Monkeys are a thing in Palm Beach. I don't know if you know, but Meisner, the architect, always carried a monkey on his shoulder. So monkeys are rather iconic down here. Love the sisal rug, and I don't know, it's a very comfortable space for us to be. I did a little chair for my grandchild over here, so she feels included, and painted it in that beautiful setting plaster pink color from Farrow and Ball. The fans are wonderful out here to keep the circulation going, and It's great. We love it. Watch a lot of TV out here. As I said, we spend a lot of time here in the loggia. We're lucky that we can have screens come down when it's buggy and the hurricane shutters come down. But after we leave the loggia, we go out to the pool area. When we bought the house originally, the pool was going the other direction, and to us it needed to be horizontal with the house. So we took out the existing pool, we put in an outdoor fireplace, and the best part was we designed this beautiful, I'll call it our folly, a little pool house that was so much fun to design and plan the interior. Let me show you the folly. We were thinking about adding a pool house, but I wanted to do something whimsical, and I think I succeeded. It's a pagoda-inspired folly with a beautiful copper roof, the scallop detailing at the top, the doors that open up. It's the best. My grandchildren like to hang out in here, and when we have parties, people like to come in here. Let me show it to you. Come on. Welcome to our folly. We had fun with this. If you don't know what a folly by definition is a costly ornamental building. And this fits the definition for sure. It actually turns into a bedroom. This is a sofa here, but it can turn into a king-size bed. We just moved the table, and we have a full bathroom to the right, and then also a little kitchenette over here. So it's fun to use this during parties. My grandchild likes to come out here and hang out, and the views from here are incredible, overlooking the pool. We added the lattice work, the tented ceiling, added some antique mirror behind some of the lattice work. I came across these giant parrots at an antique show in Chicago that I had to have. They just seemed perfect for Palm Beach. I love the Fortuny light fixtures that flank the sofa, the Moroccan tables, a great 19s kind of 60s table I found on Cherish that we painted, and it's just fun to sit in here. I think this is something that my granddaughter loves the most, is the candy bar. She loves to come in here and get candy. And then we set up a bar in here for parties, and couldn't ask for more. It's really fun. Another showstopper in this room is the beautiful chandelier. It's a silk-wrapped chandelier by Helene Aumont, and we were able to custom color the tassels and the cording and everything. I think it's beautiful in here. Another favorite source in West Palm is a shop. It's called Casa Gusto. And not only do they have exquisite furniture and collectibles, but they also do a line of papier-mâché, decorative leaves, and they even do papier-mâché rooms, if I remember correctly now. But if you don't know Casa Gusto, you need to go there. But we love to layer in different things. Also, you have to take a peek at this powder room. I've used these beautiful Moroccan tiles, a great wallpaper. It's just fun. Love, again, the pink tiles, not too pink. And it serves us well when we're all at the pool. Something I came across in my shopping in Palm Beach were these pictures of follies, and I thought they'd be very appropriate in here. They're by an artist, Mary McGuire, so I put 6 different follies on either side of the entrance to the kitchenette. I think one of the toughest jobs as an interior designer is to decorate your own home. We just have so many things available to us, and it's hard to make choices, and it's difficult. I don't hate it, but there are too many choices out there, and it's so much easier to design for a client than it is for myself, to be honest. But I've enjoyed the process. I'm lucky to be able to do it. Let's take a walk outside of the folly. This is our backyard. We did the new pool. I think what's great is the outdoor fireplace that we did. It's covered with a lot of bougainvillea right now, but it is a pagoda-shaped fireplace that replicates the folly at the other end. It's been a great space for entertaining. We removed the chaises. We've done 2 long tables on either side for dinner parties. The weather here in Palm Beach is incredible, so it's fun to be out here. We've have some nice grassy area over here where we've played croquet and bocce ball. And another feature that I'd love to show you is this little fountain that we did to the side of the building. When we were designing the folly, we decided it'd be nice to have some running water out here. In my home in Chicago, I had a fountain in my backyard, and this was the fountainhead that I took from Chicago and brought down here, and we designed this little fountain. Just the sound of running water to me is just so relaxing. So this is always on. And then we had this kind of useless area between the loggia and the fountain, and we turned it into a little 3-hole golf course, so a little pitch and putt. And when the kids come here, they love it. Even the adults love it. So we incorporated this a little bit later after we moved in. Let me show you the rest of the house. Come on inside. Let me show you our little bar area. We were able to create this little bar area by taking some of the library. And what's special about this bar area is this beautiful faux green tortoise finish by an incredible artist, painter, Joseph Steyart here in Palm Beach. I can't say enough about his work. He just does beautiful work. So we made it. I love little bars. I have one in my home in Chicago. Love to collect silver things. We've got some martini shakers. This is our little coup-de-fou napkins with our logo on them. I've got some of our tableware over here on the other side and some silver. And as I said, we love to entertain in this house, so it's nice to have this little place to keep all my linens and place settings. As I've mentioned to Homeworthy before, I love to collect things on Live Auctioneer, and I love to collect silver. I found these little beautiful salt cellars that are made out of shells, collected a few of those. I was able to design some special china with a chinoiserie pattern with the colors of the house that I think are really beautiful. And again, just a lot of odds and ends from both of our homes, and we've brought things down here that seem appropriate. Let's go take a look at the kitchen. The kitchen is right next to our dining room. And one of the architectural changes we made in the house was to add these beautiful embrasure doors. So if we're having more formal dinner parties, we do like to close off the dining room from the kitchen. So come follow me. So one of the improvements we did do in the house was to design a new kitchen. The kitchen was very serviceable that was here, but it was just very dated looking. And one of the first things I fell in love was with this color, a Farrow and Ball color called French Gray, but it really reads as a green to me. And again, was in the palette of colors that I was developing for the home. I love hand-painted cabinets. These were not lacquered or sprayed. They were hand-brushed, so they looked like they were original to the home. I used some beautiful Calcutta stone on the countertops and on the backsplashes. We designed a beautiful custom hood, different metals with some sconces on either side. Again, all the cabinetry is painted, unlacquered brass hardware. We used a beautiful stained wood for the island, and I just think it all goes together with the other colors in the home. We tried not to use too much downlighting in the space. We did surface-mounted decorative fixtures. Again, not necessarily of the period, but they look like they would belong. Another vendor that we like to use a lot is Waterworks, and we've used Waterworks plumbing fixtures throughout most of the house, especially here in the kitchen. A beautiful walnut countertop in the back, a secondary prep kitchen there. It's an easy kitchen, and we all gather in here and have had great times. The kitchen is right next to our family room. I think at one time the family room was an addition to the home, and we kept it open, and again carried the same color into this space and have a lot of comfortable seating. A lot of times when it's a little hot outside, we're in this room instead. And swivel chairs, a beautiful hand-loomed rug, again in the pinks and greens, a dining table that actually came with the house that we had refinished and added some comfortable seating. I love the sewn adjustable fixtures with the pleated fabric shades over the dining table, and it's great. We love it in here. Again, you'll have to look at some of my collections. As I've told you before and you've seen from my other home, I do have a thing for collecting. I have a series of hands. Don't ask me why I've collected hands. I just thought they were sculptural and beautiful. Back in my flea market days, I was buying trophies. I did not earn all those trophies or win those trophies, but they were giving them away for nothing, so I think they all look beautiful grouped together. One of the fabrics that we found that helped set the palette for this room is a beautiful butterfly drapery it's from a company called Radish Moon, and they're butterfly wings. Again, seemed very appropriate for Florida, and the colors were spot on with the rug and everything else in this house. One of the best things about the family room is the connection to the outdoors. To one side is the loggia, where we also spend a lot of time, and then we also are right in front of the pool. So there's a lot of back and forth between the family room, kitchen, and the pool area. One of my favorite things out here is I love these towels that I had made in Italy. We go to a special little beach town in Italy, and they have these wonderful towels that hook onto the chaises. So I had some made for our chaises here, and all our guests love them. These were a great find. Not sure you can still get them, but the colors with the black and the pink were from Anthropology. And they serve as little tables for our guests. And the beautiful scalloped umbrellas we love. With the pink, I've repeated it on the retractable awning over the dining area. And it's just a very comfortable area. We grill out here. My son loves the big green egg, and everyone else likes the grill. We've got a little herb garden here. And the bougainvillea is just incredible. As we all know in Florida, landscaping, it's everywhere. And the bougainvillea has just taken off in the last couple years. One of the best views in the house is upstairs of the terrace. And let's go up there and take a peek, because we love to sit up there for sunset and see everything that goes by. Come on up. So a nice addition we did to the home was to add this exterior staircase to make the second level terrace more accessible for our guests. Before it was only accessible through bedrooms, but this makes it a little bit nicer instead of having to go through someone's bedrooms. But what's special up here are the views. Our home is located on the Intercoastal on the north end of the island in Palm Beach. And to see all the boats that come through here, it's amazing. It's so beautiful to sit up here at sunset. Like to bring up a glass of wine, sit outside and watch life go by. Come on over to the seating group and let me show you some of my favorite pieces up here. I designed a beautiful coffee table. I found some old Moroccan tiles and had a metal base made. Again, the colors were spot on. I was in Morocco a couple times, and I'd say about 10 years ago I found these beautiful plates. Didn't know what I was going to do with them, but found a perfect situation for them here and mounted them on the wall. Same furniture that we've used downstairs, but again, it's all about the views up here and the bougainvillea, and it's just very lush. Very, very lush. Two of our bedrooms open onto the terrace, so let's go check out some of the bedrooms. We'll go this way. Here we are in one of our guest bedrooms. I call it the blue bedroom. We have 5 guest bedrooms. We've done them all in king size beds. Everyone seems to be happy with king size. And love this room, these beautiful hand-painted chests from Casa Gusto. We've tried to make all the bedrooms more or less the same, but different color combinations, so nobody's arguing about what bedroom they're going to get. They all have beautiful antique ceiling fixtures, starburst ceiling fixtures. Each one is different in every room. A beautiful ikat rug that we have here, and beautiful Matuk linens. Again, all the same linens in the same room, so nobody's fighting over what room is more comfortable. Something I love to do, and I want to give you a peek at this, is I love to wallpaper the insides of closets. So this closet is all wallpapered in a beautiful bookbinding paper. We've done a different color in every room. Let me give you a little peek at the bathroom too, which is here. Again, done in a more traditional wallpaper pattern, but we've done all the bathrooms with the same vanity, just different colors, the same mirror, the beautiful scallop mirror, waterworks fixtures, and beautiful sewn sconces on either side. So all the bathrooms are consistent, but in different colorways. When my guests arrive, I love to have fresh flowers everywhere. So I make sure their room always has a little bouquet next to the bed or some other areas also in the bathroom. But I think fresh flowers are important to make a home look welcoming. I want to speak to you a little bit about the artwork in this foyer. It was really fun collecting artwork for this house. And I have a good friend and dealer in Chicago, Richard Norton, that I love working with. And he came across these sketches by an artist by the name of Harold Hayden. And they are done on the back of placemats in the 1950s. And again, the pink was just the perfect pink. And I stacked them all in here. And I just think it makes for a very welcoming foyer to the guest room. Let me show you another one of our guest rooms. We call this one the pink room. Again, it's a very soft pink. It's a dirty pink. It's not cotton candy or Barbie pink. Again, king size bed, beautiful hand-painted chests from Casa Gusto. Again, I've used them in all the guest bedrooms. We had some beautiful Audubon bird prints that we put on this wall that Steve had in his home, and a sisal jute wool rug, again in a very kind of light pink tone. And this is one of everyone's favorite rooms to stay in, to be honest. It's a Robert Keim drapery fabric. It's comfortable and welcoming, and it's our pink room. As I've said with our bathrooms, we've tried to be consistent with all the vanities, the plumbing fixtures, the mirrors, but we did a different color combination in this room. I used a faux green wall covering in a very subtle green color. I love the biting lip rug gives it a little edginess in here, and some metal toll flowers, and this one has a tub shower combination. I was able to source another vintage gold starburst ceiling fixture, and we've used them in all the guest bedrooms. They're all similar but different, and just adds a little consistency between the rooms, and I love bringing in some vintage pieces with some of the new pieces. I'd love to show you another collection I started a while ago, and it just seems appropriate here. This is a little foyer where our elevator opens up on the second floor, and I started collecting, not on purpose, but I saw them in an antique show, beautiful tortoise shells. And I brought them down here to Florida, and I've increased the collection, and it just looks perfect in here. I love these antique tortoise shells. This is the foyer on the second floor, and let me take you into the master suite and show you some things that we've done there. This is the entrance to the master suite, and it's very special to me. I've always been intrigued by grotto furniture, and I was able to find this beautiful antique grotto settee that was the basis for this entry. A beautiful Swedish flat weave rug from Doris Leslie Blau in New York. Again, spot on with the colors. But what's really special to me is this large photograph. My son Remy is a photographer, and he was on the train and going super fast, and this was the picture he took out of the window, and we blew it up. And the colors, again, the pinks and the greens were just perfect in this house. So we made it really large. I love the contrast of the vintage grotto settee with his contemporary photograph. This is the master suite, another special room in the house because of the incredible views. We're on the second floor of the house, and we overlook the intercoastal. And to wake up and to see all these beautiful palm trees and the boats that come by and the blue water is certainly special. Very large master suite. When we bought the house, the bed was on a different wall, but we had to realign some of the openings, so there was some symmetry in the house. And we chose this window wall for the bed. Again, I've collected different periods, different types of furniture. I have to say though, one of my favorites are these beautiful, beautiful Tony Duquette lamps that I found that are in I guess a metal coral design with the shell. And I was so fortunate to find these. They're, I think, stunning. I love these. They don't really provide a lot of light for reading, but they look good. A vintage ceramic mirror that I found at a store in Chicago. And again, another one of my favorite textiles is this Chelsea Editions embroidered drapery fabric that we use. I also used it in Chicago, a different version with bugs on it, but this one is a floral pattern. I have a special ikat rug that I found in New York, the beautiful light fixtures from Paul Ferrante. I don't know, it's just a combination of different periods and styles and furniture that I had in storage and left over. I love the Rose Tarlo black chinoiserie chair here. This is a piece I picked up on First Dibs and had refinished. A sofa that we had in one of our homes that we reupholstered, and it's just, it's comfortable and it feels good here. Let's go take a look at the primary bath. That was fun to do too. Let me show it to you. When the house was built originally, there was only one window in this bath, and we wanted some symmetry again, so we added an extra window on this side so we could get two vanities. I floated these beautiful mother of pearl and oyster shell mirrors that we designed in front of each window. I loved this pattern in here. You're going to see it repeated in the shower. We did it as some tile work in the shower. Beautiful stone vanities, again, very classic. There was a company we worked with called Collier Webb to design this beautiful alabaster light fixture and also the shell sconces that are on either side. Fromentel helped me with the beautiful wallpaper on the ceiling and a beautiful freestanding tub. And another favorite drapery fabric that I was finally able to use in one of my interiors is Isadora by Gretchen Bellinger. And it's reminiscent of a Fortuny fabric. It's all crinkled silk. And I think it's just a classic, and it just looks beautiful in here. Let me show you in the shower the detail that we used from the mirror. We took the same pattern from the mirror and did an inlay in the shower, which I thought was very successful. The plumbing fixtures in the bathroom are from a company called Nons. They're doing plumbing now. They're known for their hardware, door hardware, but their plumbing fixtures are also really, really beautiful. So I've been lucky to spend my whole career in interior design. I was very fortunate that I fell into this industry, and I started out doing commercial work, and then I worked my way into doing residential work, and I've had my own office for 25 years now. I think what's unique about our office is that we don't have a particular style. Our work is always classic, whether it's contemporary or traditional. And it's been fun to do work down here in Florida. We've been doing work in the state for a while now, and none of it's the same. Again, this was designed for Steve and I and our personal tastes, and I pushed myself to use a little bit more color than I normally do, and a little bit more traditional than I would normally do, but it still works. I think it's timeless, and I love what I do, and I'm very lucky and grateful to be in this industry. Let's head down to the guest house. I'd love to show that to you as well. Welcome to our guest house. When we bought this house, it was a one-bedroom, I guess, suite, you would say, and you entered it from the rear of the house. We decided to extend this a little bit, get 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. We've almost created a family suite. There's a door here that can close off the 2 rooms, and there's also 2 entrances. So it could be husband and wife and child, or 2 couples, or whatever, but it's very, very versatile. We did a simpler color scheme in here. We didn't use as much color. I did it all in kind of caramel and white and dark brown. I love the little birds that we have on the top of the bed here. It's just bright and fresh. And again, a king-size bed, mixed in some antiques, the beautiful antique chairs, and they both have 2 full bathrooms. So a collection of vintage bamboo mirrors on the wall, a photograph again that my son has taken, and some Giacometti-inspired lamps, and a series of different beige and white fabrics. I think it's very, very successful. And let me show you the bathroom too, because this is very great. I love the wall covering in here. It's a Fornasetti wall covering with blowfish. So again, same vanity, fun scallop sisal rug, and just big enough with a nice, beautiful walk-in shower. Let me take you into the second room that's part of the guest house, and we call this the monkey room. So come on in, this has a good story to it. I was inspired by this beautiful Mario Torres light fixture that has monkeys hanging from it. But as I mentioned before in our story, the monkey is rather iconic here in Palm Beach, in that Addison Meisner would always carry a monkey on his shoulder, a live monkey. So we were inspired by that and the chandelier, and if you'll notice through the room, there is a monkey theme. This is where we put the grandchildren. We've got monkeys on the sheets, we've got monkeys on the lamp, we've got monkeys on the wall. So AKA the monkey room. And this turns into a trundle bed, and we can sleep few kids in here, which is really nice. And another full bath, and it's very successful, I think. It's a happy place. So we've had such a great time making a life in Palm Beach. It was so unexpected. It's a relaxing place to be, and I can't ask for, a nicer second home. I feel very fortunate to be here, just to have a place to relax and spend time together with family and friends. So that's what makes this house special to me. I pinch myself every time driving down these streets. Thank you, Homeworthy, for coming to my house. It was really special for me to share it with you. I hope you found it as welcoming and as exciting as Steve and I have. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.